I'd like to share with you a little bit about leprechauns. Leprechauns are remembered on St. Patrick's Day, and long ago, some Irish folk believed in these little magical creatures. And if you caught one, you could make them lead you to their pot of gold. Leprechaun comes from an old Irish word meaning wee one, and people believed that they were only as big as your thumb, a wee little creature. I'd like to share with you a story, fun story called Fluffy's Lucky Day. And maybe some of you have read some of Fluffy's stories. Fluffy has some different stories out. This is a chapter book, and the first chapter is I Love Green. Today is your lucky day, Miss Day told her class. It is, thought Fluffy. Oh boy. We have a visitor from Ireland, said Miss Day. This is Mr. Kelly, Jasmine's grandfather. He has come to tell us about St. Patrick's Day and about the green land of Ireland. Oh, I love green, thought Fluffy. And there's Fluffy. Mr. Kelly had on a green shirt, a green vest, and on his green pants and green shoes. He wore a red scarf around his neck. Top of the morning to ya, said Mr. Kelly. I love green. Me too, thought Fluffy. Ireland has green, green grass, said Mr. Kelly. Oh, I love green grass, thought Fluffy. Ireland has hills of green clover, said Mr. Kelly. Oh, I love clover, thought Fluffy. Take me to Ireland. Fluffy's dreaming. He wants to go. On St. Patrick's Day, said Mr. Kelly, everyone in Ireland wears green, even the leprechauns. He walked up to Fluffy's play yard. He picked Fluffy up. He said, a leprechaun is a wee one, no bigger than a guinea pig. Hey, who are you calling a wee one? Thought Fluffy. Leprechauns always tell the truth, said Mr. Kelly. They are grumpy and very rich. Every leprechaun has a pot of gold. I wish I had a pot of gold, said Emma. Me too, everyone said. Me too, me too. Fluffy was not sure what gold was, but everyone wanted a pot of it, so Fluffy wanted one too. If you catch a leprechaun, you can get his gold, said Mr. Kelly. How? Asked Maxwell. Yeah, how? Thought Fluffy. Keep your eye on him, said Mr. Kelly. He cannot disappear while you're looking at him. He will try and get away. Oh, yes, and he will try and trick you, but keep looking at him. At last, he will give up and show you where his gold is hidden. Have you ever seen a leprechaun? Asked Wade. I've caught one, said Mr. Kelly. He's here in my pocket. Mr. Kelly reached into his pocket. Come out, Tom, he said. Fluffy's eyes grew big. He couldn't wait to see a wee one. Oh, my stars, said Mr. Kelly. Tom has disappeared. If you see him, keep an eye on him and catch him. Fluffy did not see Tom, but he hoped he would. Then he would catch him and get his pot of gold. After all, thought Fluffy, today is my lucky day. Next chapter is Fluffy meets a leprechaun. Will you stay for our St. Patrick's Day party? Miss Day asked Mr. Kelly. We're having green cupcakes, said Emma. With green sprinkles, said Jasmine. I'll stay, said Mr. Kelly. Fluffy closed his eyes and he pictured Ireland. He saw green grass and green clover and green beans and all sorts of good green things to eat. Fluffy saw himself dressed in green with a red scarf around his neck. Here's Fluffy dreaming that he's in Ireland. Fluffy walked down a green road and he heard a noise. Tap, tap, tap. Fluffy looked behind a bush. A leprechaun, thought Fluffy. Top of the morning to you, leprechaun, Fluffy said, and the leprechaun jumped. Oh, my stars, he said. Fluffy looked at the leprechaun. Where's your pot of gold? Fluffy said. Over there, said the leprechaun. And he pointed in the field. See it? Fluffy was about to turn his head, and then he remembered he had to keep looking at the leprechaun. You can't trick me, said Fluffy. He kept his eyes on that leprechaun. I will take you to my gold. Oh, excuse me. Can't trick me, said Fluffy. He kept his eye on the leprechaun. I give up, said the leprechaun. I will take you to me gold. Fluffy smiled. Let's go, he said. Fluffy knew the leprechaun was telling the truth, and he ran home for a shovel. But when he came back, oops, I skipped a page. Wouldn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. The leprechaun led Fluffy to a field of weeds. My gold is buried here, he said, under this weed. Fluffy knew the leprechaun was telling the truth. I will get a shovel, Fluffy said, and I will dig up your gold. Fluffy had to find this weed again, so he tied a red scarf to it. Do not take the scarf off while I'm gone, said Fluffy. I won't, said the leprechaun. There's all the weeds. And Fluffy's marking his weed with that red scarf. Fluffy knew that leprechaun was telling the truth, and he ran home for a shovel. But when he came back, he got a big surprise. A red scarf, just like his, was tied to every weed. Which weed was it? Said Fluffy. There was no way to tell. But did the leprechaun take the scarf off the weed? No. He told the truth. He wasn't going to take it off. But he added a few extras. The leprechaun told the truth, thought Fluffy, but he tricked me. Now I will never find his pot of gold. Fluffy heard someone laughing. He knew it was the leprechaun. Next chapter is Fluffy's Lucky Day. The laughing grew louder. Fluffy opened his eyes. He was not in green Ireland. He was in his play yard. All the kids were laughing. They were having their St. Patrick's Day party. I guess I was not invited, thought Fluffy. This is not my lucky day. Fluffy went to his food bowl. He looked in it. He saw something. A leprechaun, said Fluffy. He's got a leprechaun in his food bowl. Go away, said the leprechaun. I'm taking a nap. Fluffy said, Are you Tom? The leprechaun said, Maybe yes, maybe know. Why should I tell you? You are Tom, said Fluffy, and you are grumpy. Tom frowned. So what? He said. All leprechauns are grumpy. Oops. All leprechauns are rich, too, said Fluffy. I want your gold. Tom pointed to the far end of the play yard. A pot of gold is over there, he said, but it is your gold. Fluffy smiled. You can't trick me, he said. I will not look over there. Have it your way, said the leprechaun. But I'm telling you, the pot of gold is over there. And leprechauns always tell the truth. Is this a trick? Fluffy wondered. He tried to keep one eye on Tom, and he tried to look at the pot of gold with the other eye, but he couldn't do it. I am going to look, said Fluffy. Do you promise not to move while I turn my head to look? Tom nodded. I promise, he said. Fluffy knew the leprechaun was telling the truth. Fluffy turned his head. He saw a little pot. Could it be a pot of gold? Fluffy turned back to Tom. But Tom was gone. Hey, said Fluffy, you promised. Fluffy heard Tom laughing. I promised not to move while you turned your head to look, said Tom, but I never said I wouldn't move while you turned your head back. Rats, thought Fluffy, tricked again. And he ran over to the pot and he looked inside. Inside the pot were bits of golden corn. So this is gold, thought Fluffy. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Fluffy, said all the kids. What do you know, thought Fluffy, as he ate some corn. It's my lucky day after all. I hope you enjoyed that story.